Well, hello, everyone.
Back at it again with another week of news.
You got it. Even though we're operating at 50% taco capacity right now, Jay and Omar have not joined us this week, but I got stuff to do. What are we going to do about it?
Life happens, know what I mean?
What are we going to do about it? You know?
What is this, 24 now?
Episode?
I believe so.
It's either 24 or 25. Although I'm fairly sure that you're right with 24.
I'm going to say 24 and I'm going to look it up.
We'll have the number confirmed here in a little bit by Ruben. But while he's looking that up, we got good stories on the tech end, some weird stuff on the tech end, and some even more strange things on the video game end with some delays that I'm sure we're gonna at least mention in passing.
Yep.
All right, what's our official number?
24.
20, you know, it's funnier than 23, 24. And then next episode will be the funniest because it'll be 25. But yeah, so without further ado, let's hop into our news cycle this week. So first off, from tech news, a company called Open Core Computer is set to be a place where you can order a computer that is not a Mac, not an Apple Mac computer, but it comes installed with Mac OS on there in addition to Windows. So it's a really interesting situation that this company has put in themselves in by announcing this. Well, let's start at the beginning, shall we? So, since the dawn of hackerism, people have loved to build their own Mac computers, and they call them Hackintoshes, right? And so, you know, people build them with off-the-shelf PC parts, and these computers come loaded with Mac OS on them, which traditionally you can't really get on other machines besides MacBooks and you know, Mac desktop computers as well. But for those computers to work, for those Apple computers to work, right, there are drivers, right? So, you know, a Mac has an Intel processor just like any other, and sometimes it has, you know, AMD Radeon graphics powering it just like every other computer. So hackers take that and abuse that to build machines with similar parts but with more high-end components, so to speak. And so the Hackintosh community has been huge for a long time. And now that these now that this computer company, Open Core Computers, has said that they're going to sell computers with Mac OS pre-installed on there, it's a big head scratcher because the Hackintosh community exists because people, as individuals, right, want to, or get to rather, ignore the agreement from Apple when you launch Mac OS on a computer that says you will not install this on anything besides a Mac computer. But they get it working anyway because the parts are compatible with off-the-shelf, you know, Intel and AMD parts. So back here to Open Core Computers, right? They basically do that. They make their own Hackintosh computers and then sell it to people, which is a big no-no because unlike Windows, Mac OS clearly states in its terms of use that it will not be redistributed or used for commercial sales on non-authorized Apple devices. So it's because of that this company is a peculiar situation. Not only because they face scrutiny from the Hackintosh community that's really diehard, but also because Apple could possibly go after them in a lawsuit for selling their software, so to speak. But more on the computer that this company is trying to sell, OpenCore. The machines that they are selling, they're desktop Mac computers, right, with Windows in there as well. But as far as the specs here, there's gonna be 3 models that you can buy, but only one at launch, and it's the low end computer, the low end Macintosh, and they're all dinosaur themed too. So there's like the one that you can buy off the bat is called the Velociraptor Open Core, and then the mid range one is called like a T-Rex. It's called the Open Core T-Rex, and then the other one is like some, I don't know what's bigger than the T-Rex, but it doesn't say here in the article that I have pulled up. But anyways, the one that you'll be able to buy, the Velociraptor, will be built on AMD Ryzen's processor and a Radeon graphics card. So most likely it's going to be like a Ryzen 7 or a Ryzen 9 variety chip with a Radeon graphics card. It may still be a Vega, or like a Radeon 7 or the old Vega cards, but I don't know off the top of my bat, and it's all on the Hackintosh community to kind of figure out. But on top of that, it's going to have a separate SSD drives for each operating system and a shared hard drive. So there's going to be Windows on one SSD and then Mac OS on another SSD, and then a communal drive in between that you could store your files on rather. For the 2,199 base configuration, you get an 8-core Ryzen 7 3700X, 16 gigs of RAM, a Radeon Pulse RX 580 graphics card, which is among the best graphics cards for the 580s, 250 gigabyte NVMe SSD for the Mac OS, and then another 250 gigabyte SATA SSD for Windows, and then the shared drive is 2 terabytes. So, that's compared to the similarly built and similarly spec'd out Mac Pro that you buy, this 2,199 base configuration is still $4,000 cheaper than the Apple counterpart, mind you. Now, the next thing about this story that makes it a little sketchy is that right now OpenCore is only receiving payment through Bitcoin for this computer. So it's like, that's extra sketchy now. And they've admitted that options are limited due to Apple's licensing agreement, for you to purchase this computer. That way they don't get into legal trouble with Apple. They're also allowing a deposit to be paid through a free bit-rated escrow account, while they quote-unquote establish trust in the user community. So you can basically pay with anything that's not legitimate to get one of these computers. Now, if anyone's willing to take a chance on buying one of these computers, let me know, because I think they're really, really interesting. And only time will tell if Apple shuts this operation down. So I'm going to be keeping my eyes on it for sure, because I want to see what their higher end machines that they offer are going to have anyway. But next on the tech news, Apple bakes something else into Siri that may be or may not be relevant to the events that are happening right now. Apple has programmed a "Hey Siri, I'm getting pulled over" shortcut voice command that automatically starts your camera and video recording feature on your phone. It will also send a ping of your location to I think some like a specific contact that you set up when you first initialize the service as well. And so of course this is in response to the recent activism, very vocal activism on police brutality. And we've definitely seen, in specific video instances where that has definitely been the case. There's a new little puppy here, in case you hear him on the microphone. It's adorable. But its name's Gohan, by the way. I figured I'd let you say the name, but I just went ahead for it because I don't think there's gonna be a name party or anything. But if there is, I'm sorry. So back to the story here about the Siri command. Once you load this free shortcut onto your iPhone, all you need to do is say, "Hey Siri, I'm getting pulled over," and it will kickstart the chain of events that we mentioned earlier. It will dim your phone, pause any music being played, and start recording video to your front-facing camera in that order. And then it can send your location to send not only your location, but a copy of that recorded video to an emergency contact. Although that part's not automatic, you still have to press your screen for a couple of accepting in terms and conditions and stuff like that. So really interesting tool there. I mean, I'm waiting to see if Android implements this at all. If not officially through Android, then I'm fairly sure there's already
people
apps
working on it.
Yeah, there's already an app that links to your Google Assistant on your Android to do this very same thing. And so of course Apple is Apple is saying that they want this to kind of aid in the quest of capturing police brutality, it's not really something that it's forced upon anyone with an iPhone per se. You do have to download the shortcut app on the App Store, link your mobile device to that app, and then go through your settings and enable it. So it's not like the COVID-19 tracker. Excuse me.
Bless you.
Oh, that was the weirdest sneeze of my life because I was laughing at the same time at myself. But anyways, there's new shortcuts there if you want it. I think it's gonna help a lot of people. At least I hope it does. But we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. Neat little tool there. Next story here is just some updates on the T-Mobile and Sprint merger that we've been talking about for a while on this podcast. Throughout this last week, there was a huge T-Mobile outage that pretty much expanded all across the southern edge of the United States, and then up the east and west coast, basically the unaffected areas that I saw. When it was first reported was like all the northern states. So, lucky bastards they are. They didn't suffer the outage. And my dad actually texted me that day. He's like, hey, there's something wrong with my phone. I'm not getting phone calls or texts. I'm just like, it's a national outage, Dad. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. And he was like, okay. So, that's the bad news for the merger, starting to officially take place there. It doesn't exactly inspire confidence. In addition to that, T-Mobile announced that they're actually closing a couple of 100 Sprint stores, their physical brick-and-mortar stores, as part of the merger because, you don't need all those stores, apparently, according to T-Mobile. So, of course, with the closure of the stores, most of the staff at those stores that will be closing will be laid off. There's no replacement plan or anything like that for them. It's just going to be gone. So, that's, of course, another thing on this merger's track record that will not fare well in the eyes of the public once this all happens. So, in addition to the layoffs that they were announcing, because of that, T-Mobile suffered the worst, this is actually the worst carrier outage in a while because of what happened. So, we'll wait and see what else happens because of that merger. Next story here is the tech that Amazon uses and have deployed at their warehouses that has an AI automatically distance warehouse workers and will sound an alarm if they get too close to each other. So Ruben's looking at the GIF of it here on my laptop here for the story. And as you can see there, the AI basically creates a little digital circle around each of the workers, and if they get too close of each other's circles, then the alarm will sound, and then it will detect it.
I'm surprised at how fast they implemented this, just because of how notoriously unjust their working conditions are in those warehouses.
Yeah, no kidding. It makes me think about what exactly they spend their money on. If it's not for bettering the conditions for their employees, then it's on creating an AI that draws circles around people and then yells at you, because that's essentially what this program is. But this is something that's been implemented and been tested at a handful, quote unquote, of the company's buildings, and they plan to roll out hundreds of more to new locations in the coming weeks.
Ugh.
So maybe they'll all be implemented once COVID-19's actually gone down. You never know. Timing is not on their side here. But Amazon also said that they were open sourcing the technology, allowing other companies to quickly replicate and deploy these devices in a range of locations. So maybe not just for Amazon. It's made to detect, proximity between, I don't know, something else and something else. But Amazon isn't the only company using machine learning this way. There's actually a large number of firms offering AI video analytics and surveillance, and they have also created similar social distancing tools since the coronavirus outbreak began, which was really almost like 6 months ago, I want to say. since the whole coronavirus thing started really hitting the news cycles. I remember it was January when it was like a big deal in China, before it was a big deal here in the U.S. But that's quite some time, but also not really a lot of time, in my opinion, to develop an AI and then teach it to social distance people. But I digress. I'm not a software engineer or an
It definitely hasn't felt as long as I just realized it was. Like, to me, it still feels like it's only been a couple weeks, and we've been now with it in the U.S. for like what?
Yeah, in the thick of it for like 3 months. Yeah, ever since I started my new job. That's how I keep track of it. When I started my job is when the quarantine hit.
That's nuts.
Like the day after my first day on my new job. So, but yeah, it definitely doesn't feel that way to me either. But let's just to kind of bring it back to what Amazon has done for its workers. They don't have exactly a clean record there. I mean, they've reported to have grueling working condition in its facilities, and in 2018, let's not forget that they even patented a wristband that would track workers' movements in real time, directing not just which task they should do next, but if their hands are moving towards the wrong shelf or bin. So that's oddly specific, because if you're a 75% efficient employee with your movements, and you want to be the next, floor manager, and your competition is 76% efficient in their movements, then you just lost a promotion, buddy.
Right.
I think that's a bunch of BS. If this technology that they patented in 2018 is implemented, and if it's something that's terribly accurate, that's not going to be good. That's not going to be good at all.
No more bathroom detours.
Yeah. Boss makes $1, I make a dime. That's why I poop on company time. It's my favorite poem.
Unless you're at Amazon, then you're not allowed.
Yeah. Apparently, you need to bring your own bucket to poop in. But on that same note here, in Amazon news, Amazon has reported that it mitigated one of the largest DDoS attacks that has ever been recorded, has ever happened. Now, for those of you who haven't been watching the podcast in a long time, I explained the DDoS, what exactly DDoS is, not too long ago in not so amazing detail, and I'm going to do that very same thing here again. So basically, DDoS stands for a distributed denial of service attack. And basically what this attack is essentially a hacker, right, gains access to a lot of different computers, random computers seemingly, at the same time. And so with this army of zombie computers that this hacker, let's say hacker, right? This hacker has at his disposal, what he will do is that he will push out a command to all those computers to execute something at the same time. And in a DDoS attack, it's specifically to target like a website, like at a very specific time, with a sudden overload of requests of the same request, right? So imagine having 150 million computers at your disposal, and you tell them to all go to Facebook at the same time, right? And if Facebook servers are already at 99% capacity, with the 300 million that use it, right? Then that 15 million is going to push the servers to the limit, and it's gonna shut down the service, because the servers can't handle all 130 million requests at the same time on top of its usual traffic. And it's not just sending the same request once; it's sending it over and over and over and over and over again. And so, really, the strategy of a distributed denial of service attack is to overload servers, and because the servers are overloaded, they can't provide service to any of their requesters, and so the website goes down basically until that can happen. But usually these attacks are measured in TBPS, or terabits per second, and that's the same unit that's used to measure how fast your internet at home is. 10 megabits per second, 150 megabits per second, a gigabit per second fiber. So keep that in mind, that this was a 2.3 terabit per second DDoS attack. Now, this like we said, this is the largest DDoS attack ever recorded, and it dwarfs the second place for the largest ever DDoS attack ever recorded, and that one was at 1.7 terabits per second. So this one was quite a bit bigger as far as data being managed and data executing an attack at the same time. But this report came from Amazon's AWS Shield service, which AWS is their Amazon Warehouse Services, where they provide software services that are meant to be kind of like a replacement for for Office 365 and their cloud environment, Microsoft Azure. It's basically a cloud platform, right? And so part of this report from AWS, it's really sad because they didn't report who executed the attack, and they did not report what exactly was targeted with the attack either, because of security concerns, which is it makes sense. But with this, it's really interesting to see that someone was targeting something that lived on Amazon hardware, some kind of service they were hosting or something, and it was a 2.3 terabit per second attack. That's just huge. Yeah, it's absolutely huge. And that was something that was prevented there. There's a neat little chart here about the evolution of DDoS attacks and just how they've grown in scale. And so just to put kind of put that attack into perspective, we have to keep in mind that in 1999, the first ever DDoS attack is started. And it's without any amplification methods. So basically it was one dude at one of his computers executing the same command over and over and over to overload a data line. And so imagine being that guy. I'd love to be that guy, or at least meet him. I'll buy him lunch or something, maybe beer. But it wasn't until 2013 when the DNS system, or the domain name system was implemented internet-wide, and that's basically the service that translates website names into IP addresses and vice versa. 1 year after that, in 2014, there was an NTP DDoS attack that synchronized that basically synchronizes times between computer systems for the attack. So even if they're in different physical locations, they happen at the same time, and that was able to amplify the strength of DDoS attacks by a factor of 556.9. So if any of you math heads are out there, that's a lot. And so of course, cyber criminalism has been growing since then, and as computer technology gets more complicated, these attacks are going to get more creative and more complicated as well. That's a astonishing report here from Amazon. I'm surprised that they're attracting that much attention. I guess they're doing their thing. They're growing. They're definitely competing with Microsoft's Azure platform there, and we're seeing that evidenced here in the size of the attacks. Now, with this one last kind of statistic about this DDoS attack, it peaked at 2.3 terabits per second, and to kind of put that against the usual DDoS attacks, usually normal DDoS attacks, or the bigger ones, kind of hover around the 406 gigabit per second to 500 gigabit per second, kind of scale there. So
it's almost like 4 times faster than the average DDoS.
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus.
And it's nuts there. But anyways, more power to Amazon. They mitigated that. If that had gone down for Amazon in the middle of this quarantine, they would have lost so much money, and it would have been even worse for them. One last tech story here. It's not really a tech story. It's just an announcement. Elgato, they launched new microphones in partnership with Corsair, I believe, and they're just desktop USB microphones. They announced and are launching the Wave 1, Wave 2, and Wave 3 microphones. They look really, really cool. They're cardioid condenser capsule microphones with a 24-bit analog to digital converter. They have a proprietary clip guard anti-distortion technology, so I don't have high hopes for that, but I hope it's decent at least. That analyzes input in real time to cancel out noise like that. So when sudden peaking occurs, sound is rerouted through a secondary signal path that runs at a lower volume. The entire process is autonomous, allowing content creators to produce clear audio that never clips without having to constantly watch and adjust input levels. So that should be interesting there. They look like pretty cool mice. They're not mice. They're microphones.
Yeah, they look pretty sick.
Yeah, they look super clean. I think these will be really competitive with the current kind of desktop microphones there, because basically you just have the blue microphones. You have the microphone we use here is a Snowball, and then you have the Yeti from Blue that looks a lot like that. It's that same kind of desktop microphone configuration. So for those microphones, I didn't see a price listed here for them, so we'll have to wait and see. They're going to be expensive. That's my guess. But without further ado, that is all for the tech news. So now I'm going to hand the time and attention to Ruben over for the video games.
Alrighty, sir. Well, we actually had quite a bit of stuff go on throughout the week. EA had their event where they announced some cool updates to some games and some new games. And then Pokemon had their event, and they also made some announcements.
Yep.
So starting with EA, one of the first ones is Apex Legends, a game that just a few months ago, maybe 2 or 3 months ago, they were saying, we're never going to do crossplay because we didn't build our game that way, and it's impossible to change now. They're implementing crossplay. And they are also being added to Steam, as well as making a Switch version, which is super interesting.
Ooh, that's going to be interesting.
I'm very curious to see how it runs on Switch and how it looks.
Yeah, because Apex is not like an easy game to run.
Yeah, not at all. And then with that, they also showed some updates coming in their next season, which includes Mirage is getting his new heirloom, an update to Lifeline that makes her more useful in fights, to where her robot that heals can also revive people if they're downed. And then, let's see, I want to see, there was another thing about this one. Hold on. No, that appears all for the Apex one. And then next up, the next EA thing, just a small one because they didn't have a really big article on this, but a new Skate game is announced.
I saw. It's in early development, isn't it?
It's in so early development that that's all they were able to tell us.
It's called Skate 4.
Is that it's coming, basically. And I was curious to see if EA actually listened to people this time around, because people have been asking for another Skate since Skate 3 came out.
Yeah, I've been one of those people.
And it just seems like timing-wise is a little off, considering the new Tony Hawk game coming out.
Yeah, I was about to say that. That's actually like perfect time. I bet you that's why they're announcing it.
It especially makes me think it just because of how early in development it is.
Yeah.
But obviously that's super exciting. By the time that comes out, the hype from the newer Tony Hawk game is going to be mellowing out, so I think that's really nice for them. Next up, sir, Cyberpunk 2077 has been delayed again.
Another month, right?
It's coming in November now. It was gonna come in September.
2 months.
Yes. And this caught me by surprise, just because it seems like every single month since they last rescheduled, they're like, yeah, we're gonna hit our September date. No problem.
Yeah.
Now they did say that this pushback isn't because the game's not complete. They said that the game is complete and it's ready to go, but they want to take more time to balance, fix bugs, and polish the game. So they want to delay it to November 19th, which makes me think that maybe they're not just fixing bugs. Maybe they want to delay it till the release of next-gen consoles.
Yeah. And something that I saw about these stories as well is that not only next-gen consoles, but by November of this year, we should already have NVIDIA's new high-end 3080 or 3090 GPU, as well as AMD's big Navi cards.
So you think they might bundle it, potentially?
I mean, specifically for Cyberpunk and NVIDIA, yes, because NVIDIA has released or at least renderings of a Cyberpunk Edition 2080 Ti. And that graphics card looks sick. I know we looked at it before, but it's been a long time. It's like yellow. So I think that's going to be the case. I mean, because they've already kind of it's already kind of been done, you know? So I think it's going to be cool. I can't wait for next-gen graphic cards because I want one. I want the new AMD one because it's built on the new RDNA 2 architecture. But that coinciding with Cyberpunk 2077, I think it's pretty smart. I think it's really smart for them to, think of people who are going to be hyped for the game, but can't play it on their old hardware, so they have to buy a new GPU. Or maybe there's going to be a coupon with the GPUs that gets you $10 off Cyberpunk, or it gets you an in-game skin, or it gets you a starting weapon or a starting perk when you bundle those two together. So we'll see.
I still cannot wait for this game. However, I'm not super surprised that it got delayed, just because of how everything sounded in this game, like how perfect they're trying to get everything,
all the detail that they're trying
and especially since they've talked it up so much, they definitely don't want to come out and just flop. So
that'd be tragic.
So they gotta make sure like that thing is pristine and ready to go. So the new date, November 19th, we can all look forward to that. Pokemon's event announced something that I've been waiting for forever: a new Pokemon Snap.
Woo!
And now I definitely need a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. No, for Pokemon Snap, I never had a Nintendo 64. So to play Pokemon Snap, I'd have to convince my parents to go to McDonald's and go to the play place at McDonald's where they had the little stations there, and play Pokemon Snap there.
Oh man, so you never like fully got into like the secrets and stuff? Huh,
Nah.
Oh man, there were so many. Like, I remember the further in the levels you'd get, you would unlock new items every level or whatever, that you can go back and use those items to take like secret pictures or better pictures.
Yeah.
And like there was some stuff that was so like hidden and neat. Like, I want to say there was one where you had to basically throw something at a Pokemon and it would make smoke come up, and the smoke for like a split second or two would make the shape of another Pokemon.
Yeah.
And you got mad points for taking a picture of that. But like, I'm super excited. It looks great. It looks fantastic, colorful. It looks like it's gonna play clean, and it looks like exactly what I've been waiting for.
Yeah, I know that Nintendo got more of a welcoming for Pokemon Snap than they were expecting, because it's just such a classic game. And lots of people are going to buy it. I already know that. Basically, anyone who has a Switch who bought Animal Crossing is going to buy Pokemon Snap. I guarantee it.
And then I feel like, too, as well, I've never really heard anybody say anything negative about Pokemon Snap.
Yeah, me neither.
It's always been positive, and it's always been like, man, I hope they do another one someday.
Yeah, maybe someday.
And now they have. And then next up, I got two stories that are kind of linked and neat. They're not really linked as much as they are like both kind of dealing with similar situations. But the FDA just approved the first prescription video game for kids with ADHD. It looks mostly like kind of like what you'd expect with like Temple Run in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it or not, but
I have not seen gameplay of this.
It looks pretty neat. Basically, it looks like you're mostly just on a ship, like dodging stuff.
Yeah.
It says, let's see. It says, after playing obstacle dodging, target collecting game for 25 minutes a day, 5 days a week for 4 weeks.
That's a long game.
Yeah. It says 1/3 of kids treated no longer had a measurable attention deficient.
Dang.
So that's insane.
That's actually really confidence inspiring.
Yeah. I definitely just wanted to include this because it's a cool little story that just how far video games have come. Obviously, we knew like some games could be educational if used in the right way, like with Minecraft, how they started using that in schools a little ways back, and how just a little while ago Ubisoft put out free games for like Assassin's Creed Origins and Odyssey. They put down like these behind the scenes ones that would teach you about the time period if you just like walk through it.
Yeah.
So that's really cool that now they're actually finding uses other than just having fun and teaching, that they can actually be used to potentially help people.
Yeah, medicinally for sure. I mean, I don't know about you, but like me, just like having grown up like with with friends and with seeing kids that like have ADHD, like nothing's more sad than seeing them like all doped up and then like not even because they're like not the same person, right?
Yeah.
And so like me just like seeing that, just like super sad to see when kids are like doped up like that, right, for their ADHD, when a lot of times it's not even ADHD, they're just being kids.
Yeah.
Right. But having these alternatives, with especially with I guess this video game treatment now, that's amazing. Because one, the kids aren't doped up, and two, like I don't know, the pharmaceutical industry in America is disgusting. I hate to think about it, but so if video games can do something that's effective, go for it. My kid's gonna be playing that Temple Run knockoff all day.
It says that they basically did a month of treatment with this, and that their only side effects were frustration and headache, which is mild compared to traditional ADHD drugs.
Yeah, no kidding. Because in ADHD, traditional ADHD medicine that I don't know the name of, but I've definitely seen the effects of. Like, it messes you up.
I believe
like
Ritalin, sir.
Ritalin is what my friends used to call it.
Ritalin.
But yeah, Ritalin. But yeah, like those meds will like mess up your teeth. They'll stain wise, like they'll stain your teeth. Like, of course, as a growing child, being doped up on anything is going to affect the way you grow. Just by consequence, and it's just like I'd rather not I'd rather have them play video games. Honestly,
it makes me wonder what else, because obviously this is the first, but it definitely won't be the last. So I'm curious to see what other ailments, or not so much ailments, but like things that they can help with prescription video games.
Yeah, other conditions, like maybe audiovisual conditions or
and
something
then
like that.
An example they actually give in the article is Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I agree with that too. There's like for the company that I work IT for, it's a retirement community that's all across the US, and they actually have a program with Oculus VRs for the residents, for the old residents there, that will take them to like their favorite beach, or they'll take them to their hometown.
Oh, that's cool.
To walk the streets as it was when they were kids, or when last they could remember. And so like there's a whole treatment program just based off of these Oculus VR headsets. And so in our office we just have like Oculus VRs just like hanging out, waiting to get sent to people for that program. Yeah, it's super cool. So I'm working directly with the Alzheimer's side of that, and although I haven't been able to observe the residents go through that treatment, I think it's hella smart. It's gonna go somewhere for sure.
And then my next and final story before we get into some discussions that I wanted to bring up is the popular game This War of Mine is going to be added to Polish high school reading lists.
Whoa.
So
interesting.
A video game is going to be added to high school reading lists.
I was born in the wrong generation.
Have you ever played This War of Mine? Or no?
I have not, no. But that screenshot that's on the screen that we're reading the article off of, that looks like the opening of the horror movie Hereditary.
It's a very like surreal game that is basically like it's a survival game, and it basically deals with you being a person and finding other people and how they handle basically like the world falling apart because of war. So you're a civilian basically surviving in a city that's going through war.
Yeah.
So you have to like watch out for, you know, the military and other potential threats while you're trying to just like survive basically.
Yeah.
And you have to, I want to say in the game you have to handle like your character's what is it? Like stress levels and like sanity, and like everything's really like it's supposed to be basically what it's supposed to make you feel like you're going through a war. Oh, that does look good.
Right? The opening of Hereditary. But yeah, back to that. The story of war is very rarely told from the citizens who suffer from it.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, with the Polish here in this case of This War Is Mine, like we always hear war stories from the soldiers on both sides. We see it from, you know, the news outlets of the time, the war told from their perspective. But we rarely ever see it from that perspective. So storytelling from there, you know, if it's a good compilation and a good source of you know, people's testimonies from the time,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's as good as it gets. It doesn't get more engaging than that for sure.
Yeah, it says it's going to be recommended as study material for a number of subjects, including ethics, philosophy, and history. And it does say in here that it's set in a country at war. You take control of different characters to help them forage for food, weapons, or anything to sell in almost entirely monochrome environment. So it's like very dark and gritty.
Yeah, it sets the mood for what's going on in the game. Imagine just chilling at home, being like, "Mom, can you buy me this video game? I need it for my morals class."
I want to say I played a demo of this one time. I don't remember why I stopped. But I do know that this game was actually free on Epic not too long ago.
Oh, okay.
And I did claim it. I don't know if you have.
I don't think I did, because I don't think that doesn't sound familiar to me.
But after seeing this article, I was like, man, I really gotta play that again.
Earn some extra credit.
Right. That is my last story, but I do know we have some things to discuss, whether it be League related, some new games that were announced that we possibly are excited for.
Yeah.
Oh, and Last of Us 2 getting review bombed on Metacritic.
Yeah. Pretty bad if I remember. I have to look it up.
Last I seen, I believe it had like a 34.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's see, I'm pulling up Metacritic on my phone right now to confirm that number. We'll see what it says. Yeah, so the Metascore for it is 95, but the user score is 3.6 right now.
Which I honestly doubt, because it had a rating of 3.4 when the game had only been out for about 4 or 5 hours, and I know nobody beat it in 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah, or if they did, they just blitzed through the game and missed the entire point of buying The Last of Us 2.
Yeah, but this game, I doubt when people look at this, they're going to look at it and go, oh, you know, the critics got it wrong. This game sucks.
Yeah.
Personally, I see it as the internet being trolls and or people who got the game spoiled for them just being salty about whatever was spoiled.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I'm reading some of them right now. Some people give it a 0. And this guy's review of 0 says, "My disappointment is immeasurable and my day is ruined." That's a meme. And he says, "I waited 5 years to play this, and they gave me a horrible intro and a shitty ending."
And see, I know a couple of people who are playing it right now who say that those reviews are totally wrong because the game is fantastic and amazing, which I don't doubt for a second.
Yeah, for sure. I think if they had any doubts that it would be anything less than fantastic, they wouldn't have made it a Last of Us 2 game.
For sure. And they especially wouldn't have delayed it to put it out just for it to suck.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then we also got, I believe, some more footage from Star Wars Squadrons, as well as some news related to that, including the fact that it is going to be exclusively first person, because they say third person would be too overpowered.
That makes sense. Although I do prefer third person flying games.
Yeah.
Because I think that's all I've ever played.
Mm-hmm.
We played a butt ton of it in middle school. Or was it high school? No, it was high school. Yeah, it was like a freshman year. What was it, Rogue Squadron?
Yeah, it's so weird that they're making it only first person.
Yeah,
I feel like that's not going to last, and there's going to be a third person patched in day one, or at least within the first week.
Yeah, I think so too, but 2 letters, VR. If it's first person only, you bet your ass there's going to be a VR version of it. Yeah. If not launch day, then soon after. I'm talking like 3 weeks after.
They also stated that there will not be any microtransactions.
Woo!
Which is awesome considering it's EA.
Yeah, I know. But then they say that about another game too. There's gonna be no microtransaction. Was that
Fallen Order, I believe.
Was it Fallen Order?
I believe so.
I want to say it was Battlefront 2 as well.
No, because Battlefront 2 had their loot boxes microtransactions, and that's what blew it up. And I'm pretty sure after that, Disney was like, "You're not allowed to put microtransactions in our games anymore."
Yeah. Smart move, if you ask me.
Yeah. EA seems to be on the uprise lately, which is nice because when they were in the prime of their game, they were on it, man. They used to make the dope Harry Potter games.
Yeah. I know that there's lots of EA games that I enjoyed playing that I can't name right now. And especially if they are one of the companies that's in the bidding to purchase WB Games.
That's what I wanted to talk about as well, and I totally forgot.
I believe now's a good time to bring that up, right?
Yeah, so basically, it's not even Warner Brothers who wants to do it, I guess. AT&T owns that, and they are making them basically sell WB Games. Which...
Bad timing.
There's a lot of heavy hitters owned by WB Games, including NetherRealm Studios, which is the studio behind Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, and Injustice. Which that just went for free this last week.
Can you imagine if Xbox or PlayStation was to buy it?
That would be a crazy exclusive. Any of them.
Play Mortal Kombat 12 exclusively on Xbox or exclusively on PlayStation.
Piss off so many people.
That'd be so dirty, and oh my god, there'd be a whole lot of angry people.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I feel like if it was to come down between Xbox or PlayStation, I kind of would hope Xbox would get it because PlayStation already owns all the sick exclusives.
They're an exclusive powerhouse for sure.
But this also makes me think of what's going to happen to all the games that are already in development. Because if you remember, I want to say about 4 or 5 years ago, they teased a Harry Potter game that wasn't Harry Potter, but it was set in the world, and it was set, I want to say, after the last movie. I
can't recall it. After the last movie, huh? That'd be intense. The Harry Potter Wizards Unite. I don't know. Back in March, yeah. Harry Potter and Batman games at E3 2020. And that was canceled.
Because of no E3. Let's see here. I mean, that's pretty much the gist of it. WB being up for sale. It's going to be insane to whoever gets it, and I'm personally rooting for Xbox.
Yeah, whoever gets WB Games, not only would they be getting Injustice and Mortal Kombat, but they would also be getting Scribblenauts and the Lego Games properties.
Mm-hmm. As well as the rights to the Fear games, meaning they could potentially make a Fear 4, which I know people would probably be excited about. Fear is a pretty popular gaming series. Do you have anything else to add, sir?
Not really for gaming. Nothing comes to mind, but I do know that we can talk about League of Legends, the LCS Championship Series, because we have gone through the first week of LCS. And so today was day 3, I believe, of the summer split.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll wait and see how the teams do tomorrow. But just looking up the standings here, I did watch some of the games today. I watched most of the Cloud9 game. I watched most of the TSM game as well. But as far as the current standings, now keep in mind just the third game of the season was today. So we have 2 teams tied for first. We have Cloud9 and Team Liquid at the very, very top. In third place, we have last season's losers, CLG. And they're standing at 3 wins and 1 loss. First place, Cloud9 and Liquid, they stand at 3 wins and 0 losses. So they play their 4th game tomorrow. So we have 2 teams tied for 4th. Between FlyQuest and Evil Geniuses at 2 wins and 1 loss. We have TSM sitting at 6th place with 2 wins and 2 losses. And then we have Golden Guardians at 7th place at 1 wins and 2 losses. And we have 3 teams tied for 8th place with 0 wins and 3 losses. And that's a 3-way tie between 100 Thieves, Immortals, and Dignitas.
Oh, man.
That must suck not having to have won at least one game.
Dude, watch C9 go undefeated again.
They are on track to be undefeated. And
Can
honestly,
you imagine? That'd be nuts.
That would make them, without a doubt, the best roster in NALCS history. This particular roster.
That'd
And
be
I hope they pull it off, because I changed my League of Legends name to a C9 name again.
I hope they pull it off just because of all the pro players who were like, oh, now we're back to a real season.
Yeah.
Now we could try.
Yeah, no, we're going to try hard. And it's like, well, Cloud9's been trying hard this whole time. And I will say about this about Cloud9, that their game against Evil Geniuses today, and Evil Geniuses were one of the stronger looking teams coming in, Cloud9 destroyed them.
Really?
Destroyed them hard. Yeah, really, really hard. I don't recall any performances in particular, but I do know that it was just a slow burn. It was a 28-minute game, I want to say, but everything that EG tried to do just failed. They could not pull it off. Every objective they tried to go, for example, towards the end of the game, around the 20-minute mark, Cloud9's on the bot side of the map, and they're about to get their 3rd Drake or their sole Drake. I don't remember which one, but they're going for Drake, right? And so EG sees that, and they try to rotate towards top to get the Rift Herald. Cloud9 sends 2 people over to contest the Rift Herald, push all 5 people off of EG, off the Herald. They take the Herald and the Drake. And after they take the Herald, EG goes bot side to defend bot side, since they were all just top side for Herald. But then Cloud9 sends, I think, 3 people to the bot lane to fight the 5. And they also send their person who had Rift Herald. So they win the team fight, push EG off the bot side, and then summon Rift Herald to take towers. It was nuts. Like, you just saw it and you were like, dang, like, if you're a fan of anyone on EG, Svenskeren, if you're a fan of Kumo, if you're a fan of Bang, or Zazel, you just saw that game and you were like, man, I would hate to be them right now, because there's nothing they can do. We've all had ranked games like that where there's nothing you can do. This was one of them. I also want to comment on TSM's game today against who did they play today? I don't even remember who they played today, but they got smashed. I want to say they played FlyQuest, actually. TSM versus FlyQuest. And I think at one point towards the end of the game, I remember TSM Biofrost, their support, being 0-7.
Jesus.
I believe. Yeah, he got caught out a lot. Seems to be a thing that that they are doing, because Biofrost was getting caught out a lot, and then Stunt from 100 Thieves got caught out a lot in today's games as well. So, I mean, I think the biggest surprise so far is that CLG is in 3rd place, because Cloud9 and Liquid being at the top, not a surprise. Immortals, Dignitas, and 100 Thieves being at the bottom, tied for 8th, not a surprise either. And TSM being in 6th place with 2 wins and 2 losses, not a surprise either. Even with Double Lift on there, I still think they're a trash team. But yeah, so that's all I have to say about the NALCS so far.
I gotta start watching those games. I was unaware that they had. I knew they started, but I didn't realize that they had just started.
If you want to go to sleep, watch the C9 game. That's all I'm saying.
Watch them stomp.
Yeah, pretty much.
Let's see. Well, that is all I believe we have, sir.
I believe so as well. I have nothing to add.
I'm good. I'm all newsed out.
Yeah, me too. So we'll go ahead and we'll end the episode here. I've been trying to be consistent with the uploads. Whenever I have to do the uploads per se. Usually, what am I talking about? Not with the uploads, with the posting to the social medias, because you upload the episodes. I post them on social media. And so I've been kind of flaking on that recently, just putting the episodes up on Sunday. So usually when we re-record them on Thursdays or Fridays, and then upload them right away as soon as they're finished processing onto the social medias. But I've been slacking them and putting on Sunday. But this week is actually an excuse because it is currently almost 10 p.m. on Saturday night. So,
yes, sir.
Unless you guys really look at our posts on midnight on Saturday, all four of you, then just look out for the links for today's episode. Let us know if you want another logo redesign for season 3 of Let's Talk About It podcast, which we've been dividing our seasons between calendar years, but we can always change that. We could do like a winter. We could do an LCS split. We could have the summer split and we could have the spring split of the podcast. But let us know if you want to do a logo design. Let us know if you want some hot sauce, because we still have hot sauce. I don't have hot sauce with me right now. It's actually in Phoenix. I don't think my sister remembered to bring it to me.
Oh, dude, I meant to take the hot sauce to Jason so he could try it, and I left it here last week.
I told him about the sauce. I was like, Ruben should bring the sauce for you to try. And especially because he said that you guys had chili. I was like, dang, did Ruben bring the hot sauce to put in the chili? He was like, no. I was like, dang it.
I was planning on it too, man. I just spaced it because I had to take my computer. And Madge's computer. We
should probably try wings again with that hot sauce. Do some hot wings. That'd be nuts.
Killer.
For sure. But we got. Keep your minds open, guys. We still have the Chipotle gift card giveaway. I swear it's gonna happen soon. Okay, it'll happen. But anyway, it's enough clowning around. We'll go ahead and let you get to it. Make sure to like us on Facebook. Make sure to follow us on Twitter. Make sure to buy us a coffee on Spotify or whatever it is you do to follow people on there, and Anchor FM. So without ado, we will see y'all later.